Hey, good afternoon, everybody. This is the Two Old Farts. My name's Chuck.
I'm Lou. I'm ready to talk about some football and whatever else.
You know, it was a lot of football yesterday, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. There was some good football on it yesterday. I was disappointed with the A&M Notre Dame game, but it was a good ball game. I watched part of it in the evening. Uh, it went down to the wire. Notre Dame came through at the end, so it was a pretty good game.
I saw the highlights on, it's not college game day, it's college football final. It's usually at the end of the night. And what's his name? The wide receiver who used to play with Ohio State, Joey Galloway, and another ESPN guy. They couple of more games. Vandy pulled one out. I didn't see that coming either.
Which one?
Vandy.
Yeah, yeah. That just goes to show what we talk about all the time. You're still dealing with young kids, even though they're pretty mature as a general rule, but they still can get up, and that's where the coaches come in. I really think when the coaches get them fired up and they believe in the coaches, those kind of things happen. You give somebody just a little bit of break, and they can turn it into a fortune, if you will.
And they gave Oregon some trouble yesterday.
Do I?
Oregon, they had trouble with Idaho.
Yes, they did. So I don't know. It's a lot goes into it. The first week you can call the first week jitters and stuff, and when you go back and look at that, a lot of statistics and things like that. Look at Clemson and Georgia. That first half was really close. So was that by design, or did they just two teams and feeling each other out? Or but in the second half, Georgia turned it on.
I think it's what you said. I think it was 2 teams trying to feel each other out, and Georgia got there quicker, and you saw also that Georgia had better players all the way.
Yeah, and that just feeds into what Coach Saban said a couple of times on game day and stuff. Until you can prove otherwise, Georgia's the team to beat. Right now, I'll be honest with you. What I've seen, of course, it's only the first week. Georgia's got too much depth.
I think we've got a lot of depth,
I do
but you know
too.
what? I like being the underdog, and I like being under talked about. I think Saban likes that too. It's rat poison, but I'm feeling really good about what we got under the hood at Alabama.
I tell you what, I got some notes and statistics and stuff like that from it. We look pretty good. That first quarter, a lot of penalties sloppy. We had 7 penalties overall, and let me see if I can find them here. We had 7 penalties overall. I forgot how many yards or something, but that all pretty much came in that first quarter. I don't know if we're just overly eager or excited. It looked like the players were excited to me, but after they calmed down a little bit, we looked pretty good. I'm gonna tell you, we had 47 rushes for 334 yards. We had 6 touchdowns, 18 pass attempts, 12 of the 18, 266 yards passing, a total offense 600 yards. If you're going to win games, that's what you got to do. You got to control that line of scrimmage. You got to control the offensive side. You can't let the other team have the ball. When they do, yeah, you got to watch the mistakes. You got to watch those penalties. We had that one turnover with a high snap. It looked pretty good. I'm gonna tell you, Wisconsin to me is a critical game for us. We're going to be
You
on
think
the
so?
road. We'll be on the road. I was impressed with what I saw with Wisconsin. They're big up front. Our offensive line was a little bit weak yesterday, I think, at different times. But go in and handle Wisconsin, then I think we'll be ready for Georgia. And that's going to be a game. What did you think about Jalen Milroe yesterday?
I think he did good. I really did.
He was,
He 9 passes, 7 completions, 200 yards. I mean, what more can you say? 2 rushing touchdowns. Was it 5 touchdowns overall for Alabama while he was in there?
there was six touchdowns overall.
You can't say anything more. He, his stats, it speaks for itself.
Yeah, well, you're right. He had five, then Ty Simpson had one. So for the six overall, but there's a lot of young players that showed up yesterday. I had some notes on some of those people, Ryan Williams and some of those guys, but I was impressed with the depth and the young players. This kid Saab, he's a transfer from Michigan. What boy's on fire? He had two interceptions, what one touchdown or two? I can't remember now what he did, but he looked real good. He looks like he was able to read the quarterbacks pretty good. Was going into Michigan, he was highly rated coming out of high school. So I think coach is kind of picking up with the talent and everything that Coach Saban left.
And it seemed like from what some of the announcers were saying that some of the folks and asked him to keep some of the things that Saban had put in place. That they had like, they know he's the new coach and he's going to change some things, but they asked for him to keep some of the things, and he did. I don't think they went into detail with those things. But again, that just speaks to who he is as a coach because he obviously is comfortable with who he is and what he's done. I think he's moved up through the ranks faster than a lot of others, but he looks like he's ready for the stage that he's on, and he's on one of the biggest stages out there.
And
And I didn't see anything to indicate worry.
he's really calm, and I think it goes back to what we were talking about with Dabo, the assistant coaches. When you got a good staff and you believe in that staff and you let them do their job, and that's what I saw yesterday. I didn't see him getting excited. I didn't see any throwing headsets like Coach Saban would do every now and then, and even in a game like that yesterday. But I thought it was pretty good. The O line, what I was reading today, a little bit uneven, but Proctor was out, so it's going to be. We'll have to wait and see how long he's going to be out. I'm not sure what the extent of his injuries was and stuff like that, but so they work on that out.
It's gonna, yeah, like you said, the Wisconsin game. It's a road game. It's gonna be a true test. It's gonna be a hostile environment. It's gonna be loud. You're gonna see whether the wheels fall off or not with him, the team, and we'll see how well they're prepared and coached. That'll be the true test, like you said.
And I think next week's game is going to be important for us from a standpoint. Some of these young guys, because we had a lot of freshmen that was playing yesterday, and the more that they can
Yeah, one of
play,
them caught two touchdowns.
more they play and have some fun. And one thing that I liked about what we did, I don't like running up the score, but unfortunately these days that's just kind of the way it is. And I don't think we run up the score other than we had other players that first half when it was over. Jalen played what two downs, two sets, and then Simpson came in. Well, when he came in, you look at that O line and everybody else. It was all the backups and stuff like that. A lot of young kids playing ball. You got to let them play. If you just let them do one or two things just so that you can do, they got to play. They got to be able to build their confidence, and that's what I saw. And I think next week's game is going to be somewhat like that. If we do that, I think we're going to be prepared for that middle part of the season where the tough gets going.
I think so. I think Simpson looked really good. He looked really comfortable. He was throwing the ball around, and he was playing with the second team offense out there. And
Yes, you are.
I couldn't tell if Western Kentucky had put their second team in.
So it's gonna be a good season. I'm waiting. I still say, like we were talking about earlier, we gotta see what happens with Wisconsin. Then we'll get a break. Then we'll go play Georgia, and we'll find out what Georgia's made. But I'm gonna tell you that Georgia, it's just they're tough. Well, I'm gonna tell you, I just when I watched them play yesterday, and
To me, I'm going to tell you who my standout player was that 17-year-old true freshman, Ryan Williams. Two
yes,
touchdowns, Dad. He's 17 years old.
yep, he was good. And I would tell you that rushing. rushing game, those running backs, they look pretty good
Justice
to me.
Haynes,
Yeah, that's what you do after you hit that line of scrimmage. They came fired up. I'm excited about football, and
Jam Miller too.
I think if we were really weak and like everybody's talking about, would the drop off would Coach Saban leaving, and didn't look like much of a drop off to me. I really like what I saw out of Coach DeBoer. He didn't get all excited, but I saw him talking to some players. I saw him talking to his coaches, and you didn't see his demeanor seem like it was changing a whole lot. Even with the miss uh, one snap that over Milrose's head and stuff like that. So those things are important because I think the players react to that kind of stuff too. Well, you can get down real quick, or you can take it and learn from it. But there's some other good games on yesterday too.
I think that
I
kid
was,
Ryan Williams is going to be the one to watch, and I think either Jam Miller or Justice Haynes. Those those are going to be that. Those are going to be the guys that are out there with Jalen Milroe being the straw that stirs the drink. I think those three guys are going to be the drink that he is stirring and just passing it
and
off or passing it down there. I'm just excited.
I think that kid Saab on defense. I think he's going to get the only what I'm reading, what I see. The only probably concern is linebackers. I didn't see a whole lot. We didn't get any sacks yesterday. I don't believe we got some pressure a few times, but
But we got some interceptions and we got some sacks.
we got one.
One sack.
Yep, we got one sack, and we only punted 3 times, so that was good. It's going to be interesting to see what happens. I looked at. I went online, did some, got some statistics. Yes, from the game, and so we looked pretty good. One of the things I noted was the rushing yards. We had 334 rushing yards off 47 rushes, so we averaged 7.1 yards. So if we can keep doing that, and of course when we start playing Wisconsin stuff like that, those stats will go down. But that's about building teamwork with the offensive line and the backs, and those backs being able to read what the offensive line is doing, so they know which direction. Will you slide off the right hip or the left hip? Those kind of things. It was pretty good.
I would agree.
I was disappointed with UTSA. Well, that first half they were strong, and come back that second half, they didn't. Either the other team make a whole lot of adjustments and they're better than I anticipated, or they just kind of slacked off a little bit. That we got this one, and
I'll tell you what I think it was. I think they slacked off. I think they played just how they always play as UTSA. They were the better team. They got up, and then they slacked off. They took their foot off the gas, and they let that other team catch up on them. I mean,
yep,
Dad, this was Lamar. Come on. No, that wasn't Lamar. That was Texas State. Who did UTSA play?
UTSA played.
I done forgot who they played.
Just like I'll tell you.
Who did UTSA? It wasn't Rice, was it? No. Who did UTSA play?
Well, I'm trying to find it. I'll tell you in just a minute. Kennesaw State.
Uh, Kennesaw State.
Yeah, from Georgia.
Yeah, and they just got into FBS. They were
Yeah,
in FCS. Yeah, so I don't think Kennesaw was really a team to give them trouble. I think they just didn't take them serious, and they let them get back in the game and let them get real close.
yep, and that's kudos for Kennesaw State, their team, that not to give up. So a lot of times these young kids, when you getting beat, and you can see that with Western Kentucky at the end of that third quarter and the fourth quarter, you didn't see as much enthusiasm with the players, and I get that. You start residing yourself to how bad is it going to be type thing. But did you watch any of that
Saw it in the
Texas State?
Texas Saw the same thing in the Texas State game. It seems like in the third quarter they just went to sleep and they let Lamar catch back up in there and make it a game before they're like, because I mean they were 18-0.
Yep. They had a chance to come back and beat them, if I'm not mistaken.
27. So yeah, that's 7 points. That's one touchdown back to tie.
I'll tell you what, we're
That's
going to
not
find
playing into
what,
your potential, and that's what Alabama did a little bit before last year.
and that, we'll find out next week what those two teams made out because they play each other, Texas State and UTSA.
We sure will. We sure will.
And I tell you what, that's going to be one of the better games I think next weekend. When I looked at some of the schedules
It's a
for,
good game.
so it's going to be good. About week 3, week 4 is when things start really picking up with find out what kind of teams you're going to have and stuff like that. But that game next week, Texas State. Then after that, they got Texas. Boy, they next 2 weeks going to be really tough for UTS.
I hate to say it, but that Texas game, they probably took that one for the month.
Yeah. So, but I think from a UTSA point of view, depends on what happens with Texas. Yeah, if they can hang in there and not get anybody hurt and those kind of things, I think they're going to have a good shot at doing what they need to do. And I think Texas State's in the same boat. I think Texas State they got 1 or 2 games. Actually, I don't really see anybody. Maybe Louisiana or Louisiana Monroe, but other than that, I think they have a good shot to certainly in their division because they play ULM, Arkansas State, South Alabama, and Troy and Southern Miss. So it's gonna be some good games. We'll find out. Yeah, and talking about games, yesterday there's a big game tonight. We got LSU and USC. That's gonna be a game. It's gonna be interesting to see which one of those. And I'll tell you another one. Tomorrow night is going to be that Boston College and Florida State game.
Agree. I think yep, 1000%.
We're going to find out what Florida State's made of tomorrow night. I don't know anything about Boston College, but if they come out and fired up, if they're really as strong as everybody say they are, I would anticipate a 40-7 type ball game, maybe 14. They should run away with it.
You think so?
Surprised with Florida. I thought Florida would do better against Miami than what they did.
Yeah, I thought so too. But I don't know. I'm beginning to wonder if Billy Napier was the guy that they should have been calling.
Yeah, he did really good at Louisiana. But you look at the
I don't
caliber.
think that's the biggest stage as he needs to be on.
Yeah, but it also may could be that he's got to get his feet wet. He's got to learn everything there is to learn about getting into the SEC or that bigger conference. And I'm not sure he has the coaches with him. I don't know anything about their coaches, but if you don't have the right coaching staff to elevate to that next level, it's hard for the coach to elevate too.
You know what? If you were a hot commodity coordinator, um, position coach looking to make that leap to the coordinator, Napier be the coach you would want to do it with?
I agree, and that I guess you could go back to Coach Elko from Duke. I mean, kind of like the same level of Duke when they were playing everybody. He showed up yesterday at A&M. You got a new coach there, and you got a lot of turnover. You got transfers and all those kind of things. And Notre Dame had pretty much the same team as they had last year. Same coach. I thought they did well, and they may be a factor to reckon with. I don't. I have A&M schedule here. Yeah, they play Florida. They got Arkansas, LSU. Then they got Texas. So they got a pretty tough schedule for the rest of the year.
Yep, they got a good tune-up game with McNeese State. Then they go into Florida.
Yeah.
So
Then they got Bowling Green. I think
another
I think
tune-up
they
game.
I think they
Pretty
play with
easy
Arkansas.
schedule.
I think they played Arkansas, Missouri, Mississippi State pretty good. We'll find out tonight what LSU's made out of, and I think how tough they're going to be.
They don't finish the
After,
season out until they have a tough end of the season with LSU and Auburn and UT. I mean, that's a tough ending for them. And just like us, we're ending with Auburn and before that Oklahoma. We got a tough ending as well.
yeah, and we're talking about Vanderbilt. The way they played yesterday, they got Alcorn State, then Georgia State, and Missouri, and a week by, then they play us. And that could be one of those games that if you don't watch out for, they'll sneak up on you.
I agree.
But this SEC schedule is pretty tough. You know, Vanderbilt, they're playing Texas, they're playing LSU, they're playing Tennessee, playing us. They got Kentucky. That's a pretty tough schedule.
You know, and speaking of Vandy, man, what about Vandy? Pulled out a win yesterday.
That's what I'm talking about. They got a tough schedule, and if they're going to play Alcorn State, then Georgia State, then Missouri. They win those games, and they got a week off to rest and do some things. Then they play us in Nashville. So that's one of those games that it could be a trap game, you know, if you're not careful.
You know what else about Vandy?
'Cause-
Everybody was high on Virginia Tech. Everybody's like, "Virginia Tech, they could be the sleeper to win that ACC, and Virginia Tech this and Virginia Tech that," and then they go up and then they lay an egg against Vandy. So was Virginia Tech oversold, or is Vandy just
Well, I think maybe Vandy was a little bit overlooked because you know they're like the when
one
the
second
SEC.
stepchild of the ACC?
Yeah, they're the 15th out of 15 in the SEC or whatever type thing, you know. So people don't give them any love, and but I'm gonna tell you that they play pretty good. I didn't watch any of the. I saw some of the highlights and stuff. They look pretty good, and that's why I said they're gonna play Alcorn State, then Georgia State, and if they take it to Missouri like they did yesterday and beat Missouri, we got to watch out because they'll get a week off to recuperate, to learn a little bit and build on. Then they play us, Kentucky, the SEC. I think we're headed in the direction like you talked about a couple of times before. We're going to get to a point we're not going to have a whole lot of conferences anymore.
It's not.
Yeah, pretty
I
soon
think
we're
the
going.
ACC. I think the ACC is on life support. I think it's going to get broken up in the next 2 to 4 years. Half is going to go to the SEC, the other half's going to go to the Big Ten. It's just a matter of who lands where. Does Florida have enough of a voice to keep Miami and Florida State out? I don't think South Carolina has enough voice to keep Clemson. But then again, I don't know if Clemson wants to play in the SEC. I think they might be better off in the Big Ten.
Personally, from what I see, and it's nothing against Clemson and Dabo. A lot of it has to do with the recruiting. Look who they have to recruit against at Clemson. I mean, you got Georgia, you got Alabama, you got Kentucky, you got
Tennessee,
Tennessee. Actually, Oklahoma and A&M is not that far away either. If you stop and think about it, then you got the Big Ten is not that far away. Big Ten, yeah,
Ten's just right up above you.
yeah. So, but you're right.
Like I
I
said,
think we,
I think the ACC in 2 to 4 years will be absorbed by the Big Two, if you will, the Power Two, and the Big 12. I think unless the Big 12 and the ACC merge and take the best and then leave the rest, if you will.
I think we're going to end up like the NFL. We already got a lot of their rules now. They already letting you got a 2 minute timeout at
You got
halftime.
the
And
in-helmet
then
communications.
exactly. Next thing you know, this they're going to be able to communicate with the quarterback.
They already are. They already have.
Right, but you got towards the end, you got like 15 seconds you got to cut out. But who the hell's going to monitor that, right? Is that automatic?
I think they have to be able to monitor the frequency.
Yeah. So I think eventually what you're going to see is college football is going to be like the NFL.
They like
You're
the
going to have,
minor league for the NFL.
yeah, you're going to have the NFC East, NFC West, or whatever, you know. So we'll see.
We'll see.
You know, and
That's another conversation for another day.
when I was looking at the games yesterday, there was only two ball games yesterday, really. That was Georgia and Clemson and Miami and Florida. That was only two real ball games yesterday. When you talk about football, everything else were blowouts. There,
Vandy and Virginia Tech was not a blowout.
no,
Oregon had trouble against in Idaho.
yeah, I'm talking about the top 25, those projected top 25 teams.
Oregon is a top 25 team, and I mean, and A&M and Notre Dame. Those were two top 25 ranked teams.
Yeah,
I think I think that Notre Dame A&M game was a. I think there were about 3 or 4 games, just the 2.
Yeah.
I think you're showing a little bit of bias there, old man.
Well, we'll see. One last thing. Tomorrow, I'm gonna see if I can find my notes. You know what? Tomorrow's Labor Day, right?
Not supposed to labor on that.
Labor Day is a holiday, federal holiday. You know how it got started? Back in the 19th century. Unions and labor movements grew. They ended up with in 1887, Oregon was the first state of the United States to make it an official public holiday. I did not know that. I would have thought it would have been Michigan or someplace like that, where the big auto industries are and where all the big union groups are and things like that. You know, did you know that Canada celebrates the same day we do?
No, no.
Yep, sure do. It's, first Monday of September. More than 150 other countries celebrate International Workers' Day on May 1st, the European holiday of May Day. And there's a big controversy why we didn't choose May 1st. It has to do with Grover Cleveland, president, and been very political and things like that. And he's one that set it for September. So a lot of interesting history there about why Labor Day came about and stuff like that. But the one fact that surprised me was that Oregon was the first state to really celebrate it. That really shocked me. I just thought it would have been more on the East Coast with Chicago and that area where all the big industries really started from, and the labor groups, labor unions, and those kind of things. So anyway, just a little thought there. All right. Well, let me go check on your mom. Make sure she's all right. Get ready for some football tonight and tomorrow night.
You got it, old man.
All right.
Y'all take care of it.
Y'all take care. Love you guys.
You guys, love you, Dad.
All right. Be good.
Try.
See you.